Are you a Christian singer, a musician, a worship leader, or a hip-hop or spoken word artist, and you're looking for a platform to share your work? If so, I have exciting news for you. TPI is accepting submissions for music videos to air on the program. So please send a downloadable link of your music video and the song lyrics, the song copyright details and publishing details to tpimusic@cbn.org. Who knows, maybe one day I'll be introducing you to the world. So on TPI, midweek praise party, we would share testimony. And Ronnie, I was saying earlier on that we would share prayer and talking about when you were having treatment, that you would be on here to get your energy, get prayer and whatnot. But also we would share testimony and testimony and stories with guests. We've had some of the good and the great on here, but joining us as a young man, I think the last time I saw him, it was in the I think it was the last time I saw him was in the studios, Virginia Beach. And we're comparing a beard and how to grow beard. He had this almighty beard going on. And he talked about things that were to come, which at that point, seemed to many a long way away, and years later those things have come to pass in terms of Grammy Awards and being world renowned and much more. Joining us on TPI today is the one and only Dante Bowe.
What's up, everybody? How you doing? How you feeling, bro?
Easy.
You said what?
Oh man, I can't hear you just yet. Oh, there we go. I should be able to hear you now.
What's up, man? How you feeling? How you doing?
I'm feeling great, especially talking to a fashion icon.
Well, thanks for having me, brother. I see your scarf. You killing it right now. What do you have on? That's fire. I like it.
Oh, so what I do, I wear these. I always wear African scarves. But when you came to Virginia Beach. And every time I'm in Virginia Beach, the producers don't let me wear it because I think it's too strong, too much of a statement. So I have to blend down. But since I'm here in London and they're there in America, they can't control what I wear, so I put it on.
I feel that, bro. I feel that.
Dante Bowe, thank you so much for joining us. Since we last spoke, it seemed you've been in a whirlwind of what many would consider to be success. I'm talking Grammy Award. I mean, as far as the Grammy goes, which is the highest accolade for anyone in music, you broke records being nominated in gospel and Christian music. Then you went and rocked the house with your singing, and then the fashion, and then the interviews, which got some people all excited all over the place. What has the from Dante Cam? What has the last 3 years or last 5 years been like for you?
First of all, it's an honor to be on your show. Thanks for having me. I think the last 5 years for me is very complex because, I went from, in 5 years, I went from being a part of a ministry and I did that for 6 years. I ended up transitioning 5 years ago, almost 5 years, 6 years ago. And I was homeless afterwards because not because I necessarily had to. I don't know if I've ever even explained this, but it was really because I wanted to pursue what I felt like was my purpose, and that was music. And I wanted to. I had a dream to be a worship leader with Bethel or with Hillsong. I don't know why. That was just one of my dreams. And so I was ended up being homeless, living with what would soon be my manager at the time. Went from that point to, out of that depression, birthed this beautiful relationship with my pastor, my old pastor. His name was Donnie Clark, and he pretty much bought me a trailer, and I couldn't even afford the rent, to live in the trailer. And so he helped me with that, got me a car. Long story short, I ended up signing a record deal with Bethel Music, and a writing deal with Maverick City Music, and so on and so forth. And now we're here.
Indeed. Now we're here, and now, I mean, before everyone wanted to speak to you. Now, everyone and their cousin and their stylist want to speak to you. But you, one of the things I mean, I've had the honor of working with artists who are not Christian. So for years, I looked after Mariah Carey, Bob Dylan, Maxwell, and the
Awesome.
likes. And then, being in this Christian world, understanding some of what an artist or the people we see as celebrities and we hold highly go through. So one of the things that you notice in the comments to you sometimes is the question about how can you as a worship leader do this? How can you, I mean, you're ambassador of Christ, how can you do that? And how did you, have you come to a place where you've learned how to deal with the expectations of people, or are you still learning how to deal with that?
Yeah, I think I'm definitely still learning how to deal with that. Some days it's easier than others. And then some days I'm like, I have the time, I'm going to comment back until I'm finished. And it's really me trying to explain my heart more than it is me trying to have an argument through Instagram comments. However, um, I don't always expect people to understand. I feel like I have confirmation from God that I'm a trailblazer in some respect, whether it be fashion or music or whatever the case may be. I think, and not just confirmation from Jesus, but we broke the record for the most nominations ever in Christian and gospel music, which it was 6. We thought it was 5, but it was 6. And also my single was the first to chart on gospel and CCM. So it was like, and Doja Bana made me a suit. So it was like, it wasn't even like the spirit, like, yeah, God had already confirmed it, but then I guess we put it in the earth, and it was more of a practical thing. So I can't ignore those signs. And so that's what kind of keeps me sure of who I'm meant to be and how I'm meant to do it. It's because just the confirmation from God, and then, him putting it in the earth, and also giving me the resources. I don't shake hands. I don't kiss up to people. Like, that's one of the things, like, my management would tell you, like, if we have to kiss up to be on radio, I won't pay to be on radio, none of that stuff. So I just allow it all to happen organically. And when people are so quick to judge why I am into fashion, it's just they don't know the backstory. They don't know that I've always loved fashion, and it doesn't have a hold on me. I love it, but it doesn't mean much to me. My friends wear my clothes. I give my clothes away. I lose stuff. I'm not hung up on Louis Vuitton or Fendi. It's just something fun. It's a way that I can express myself. And more than I'm a worship leader, I'm a Jesus follower. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. And I sing about him because that's just been my life. That's been my whole life. Jesus has been my whole life.
So the last time we sat together, you revisited some of your journey when you were pretty much a missionary with Ed James and his crew. You learned ministry. You did ministry as a much younger man, and here you are now. But what most people see is the lights and the crowds now. You've always said that you believed that God called you, believed you would be in the spaces that you're in now, being a light. But you never quite fit in. Remember you saying about your voice and your style didn't quite fit in. What kept you going in those times? And now I'm asking this especially for someone who may bump into this in someone's
Sure.
timeline, who it might not be music that's their thing. It might be education that's their thing. It might be fintech that's their thing. It might be, it might be sports that's their thing, but they don't quite fit into the norm of that space. And they're feeling the pressure to just maybe reshape themselves to that. Tell us what kept you, and encourage someone who maybe doesn't fit in but feels a sense of purpose in that space.
I think what just kept me is that, obviously I have not obviously, because some people don't, but I have really, really good friends. I have really, really good friends who love me for no other reason but just to love me. They love who I am as a human being, and they encourage me like a lot. Like, we don't shy back from like, you're good, you're awesome, oh, you're the GOAT. Like, me and my friends are always like lifting each other up in that way, and also telling each other the truth too. It's not always like peaches and cream. However, most of the time it's just always this big encouragement. We're always reaching out, helping each other, whether it be through media. I have media friends who, are best friends. I have, our other artist friends who I'm going on tour with coming up, and who's been my best friends for years. And it's just, we've always just been there for each other. And no matter how different I felt, or sometimes felt ridiculed or looked down upon because of those differences, they would always just remind me, like, bro, you're killing it. You're doing a good job. Like, you know what I mean? And if I wasn't, they would tell me. So I think for me, surrounding yourself with people who aren't just like wanting this transactional relationship, but they're really there to help you stay focused and just not listen to all the white noise, around you, but listen to the voices that have relational equity.
Another thing that generally we in the media would love to ask, because it
Ask away.
helps you with clicks and sales, is usually I guess comes like, I heard your parents were on drugs, but I actually want to ask about your grandma. Tell us about the role of your grandma in your life, leading up to this moment where the world now knows Dante Bowe's name. What was her role leading up to that, and where is she now in the picture?
I'll say this: my parents never actually were on drugs. They were drug dealers, and they raised me, solely, like, pretty much. My mom and dad raised me, and after their divorce, my dad moved 5 minutes down the street so he could still take us to school, come to games, all this stuff. So I always had a 2-parent home. And then my grandparents, however, they were the spiritual, part of our family. And I think for my grandmother, along with the rest of my family, I think it's just not clicking yet. I think I saw a clip that my best friend recorded of my dad. My dad and my mom came to they're still showing up together, by the way. They come together every time they're with me. But my mom and dad came to the show last week, and my friend showed me a video of him just watching me perform. And I still think, I don't think it clicks yet. I think it's just surreal, and something we always thought could happen, but didn't know what we would do if it did, happen. And so I think she's very proud and wants me to stay humble. She always tells me before I get off the phone. My grandmother specifically tells me every time I get off the phone with her, make sure you stay humble. Just stay humble.
So here you are, Dante. One of the articles, by the way, one of the interviews you did with one of my journalists here in the UK. It's a magazine that's part of the Premier Group, and she says, I've never seen a worship leader's website where they put they state their chest size, talking about your website where they got your EPK, which I thought was rather funny actually. But you are on tour, I believe, right now with King and Country. Are you?
Yes,
Or,
yes.
and so what's that like? I mean, because when people think of for King and Country, they think CCM, and when they think of Dante's voice, they think gravelly gospel, and then when they see you in your fashion, it's man, that's urban music, that's pop, that's that's all that stuff. So what's it been like being on that tour? What have been some of your experiences? What have you seen God do?
What's it been like? Honestly, because we're in the beginning of it, and it's just been a learning curve for me. It's like going from doing more worship or gospel, and then doing, now I do my album Circles, and a lot of it has like just a lot of undertones of like just soul, pretty much. And so I'm having to actually communicate with my eyes and my hands, and they have this big, they have this long runway to have to walk on and stuff. So I'm learning, who I am as this artist in an arena, and as a solo artist in an arena. And it's uncomfortable, and it's also like I feel like God's having so much grace. I mean, like I feel the grace of heaven on my life, being on the road, because I think Joel and Luke are the perfect people for me to start my, touring career with, because they're so genuine. They take time to talk to me after every show. How'd it go, man? How you doing? They have ideas how I can get better. And you don't always have that, with people that are kind of above you. Usually it's like, maybe you can look at as competition, or maybe they just don't have the time and energy, because they're on tour too, So I feel like it's been a learning curve, but also I feel like God's been gracious with me and my team.
So after this, am I correct in thinking you then have your own tour, Dante Bowe? Is it a cycles tour, cycles or circus? What's the
We don't want
tour?
to do cycles. We don't want to go in cycles, but
Well, if you're Jonathan McReynolds,
JK.
you might.
No, JK. No, but it's called Circles. But that tour's happening a little later this year. But I am going on my first headline tour, and it's a worship tour. I'm very, very excited about it.
Okay, so I'm guessing you can't say any more about it at this point.
I can say this is two other guys on the tour with me, and one is like he's from just an iconic crew, and then the other is my best friend who's part of Maverick. So
okay, so I'm sure all info about that will be on your channels in
soon,
good time.
like maybe in a few weeks. Yeah, we're about to start promoting it, so I'm excited, man. And
So
it's going to be stripped down, and it's going to be stripped down. I was watching videos yesterday. We were going through videos for promo, and I was watching videos of me lead worship. And I'm like telling Seth, I'm like, man, we have to show in the promo these old videos to remind.
Now, when you say telling Seth, who's Seth?
Seth is,
because we have a Seth here in the UK, you see.
Seth is a media director, and also Graham. And so like on my social media, like it's usually like a picture from Seth or a picture from Graham usually. But yeah, I was telling them like, we want to like bring people back, like, and remind them of what it felt like to be in that room when we sang Champion for the first time, or when we did Real Thing for the first time, or Move Your Heart for the first time. And honestly, it was reminding me of those encounters too, which I think this tour is going to be very significant, not just for my supporters, but it's going to be very significant for me and my team, for sure.
Dante Bowe, at the moment, what song is your go-to song? Either one of yours or somebody else, and why is it your go-to song at the moment?
Okay, so yesterday I pretty much listened to is it Tin Roof? It's a song called Tin Roof, and it's by, let me see, I have to show you. Sorry, I'm prolonging this. But
no, take your time, man.
Yeah.
Take an hour if you want.
Yes, sir. So it's Tin Roof, and it's by, what's his name? Let's see his name on here. Oh, His name is Blessing. So Tin
Blessing.
Roof by Blessing. And he just signed a deal with Chris Tomlin. It's the best song I've ever heard. Like he makes me want to go write a new song now.
Wow.
Challenge
Well, Tin
myself.
Roof by Blessing. We're gonna have to look for that. And so
he's a blind man, and the whole song is just pretty much saying, you know, that we got streets of gold. I know there's fire and thundering lightnings and beauty everywhere and rivers, but I'm blind. He's blind, so he don't know what a river looks like. He doesn't know what a street looks like. So he was just saying, I pray that heaven is like rain on a tin roof. That's what the whole song is pretty much about, because he can't see.
Wow.
Yeah, it's deep.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So you have what many dream of, a Grammy. You are world renowned, traveling style. And many people who follow you on Instagram, some will look at you and think, oh man, he's got it all. I mean, what does he need? For someone who what prayer do you covet? I know there'll be stuff you can't really say because it's private, but do you have something or some things that are dear to your heart that you can tell the people to pray for you about now as we end?
Yeah, I'll just say, just pray that, that God would always just, give me wisdom, and just pray for wisdom and strength, because it's so tiring doing what we do, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually. It's so tiring. And honestly, more than anything, it's tiring dealing with like ridicule from like people, like from church people. So it can get exhausting sometimes when it's like, it's not even really like people from the world that are really ridiculous. It's like, and so it's like, I think, sometimes it can just get exhausting, if somebody's talking about jeans in the comments, it's like, doesn't really matter, So I think just praying for his strength, mentally, spiritually, and physically, and just be kind to everybody. I'd make a statement and just try to be kind and try to have grace. And if you don't understand, pray for wisdom.
Wow. You've just set off a whole series of questions in my head that I want to ask you, but I've overshot my time, and I want to respect your time. Hopefully, we'll get some time with you again in Virginia Beach if you're ever in that area, once the Americans allow me to travel. Producers.
It's gonna be soon, man. We have hope. It's gonna be soon.
Dante Bowe, thank you so much for. Actually, you know what? We'll see you from a distance soon, because you're coming to the UK. You're coming to London, Big Church Day Out.
Are you gonna be there?
Actually, I better not lie. I generally don't go because I don't do mud. I mean, I just can't. I can't put my trainers in mud. Come on. So I'll watch.
Come on, man. Put on some boots and come.
Listen, if I'm gonna put on my boots, it's gonna be Balenciaga. I'm not gonna spend all that money. I'm just gonna put it in mud. I'm sorry. So
what's funny? What's funny about this interview? This is one of the best interviews I've had. You know why? Because it's like you're asking like legit questions about faith. You're asking legit questions about fashion, and feel like, in our world, in the kingdom church, sometimes it can just not be, diverse. I think this interview is great. You're awesome. You need a talk show.
That's very kind of you, but you should read the comments they have about me. Anyhow, Dante Bowe, thank you so much. And I do want to play a song from another of we have some incredible artists here in the UK. And I think the last time I was in Virginia Beach when you were there, I was telling you got to do some stuff with UK artists, as though I had a right to tell you what to do. But, there we go.
No, that was good.
But this is a young man called Michael Oyo, and one of our very best called Called Out Music. Dante Bowe, it's such a joy to see you. God bless you. Thank you for encouraging encouraging us with your voice, with your music. Thank you for taking the blows and keep going, because many have quit and said, I'm done with this church people. God can bless them somehow else that he wants. But thank you for weathering the storm,
Of course, man.
for us. So here is Michael Oyo and Call That Music.